Next, we have a special speaker with us. I'd like to invite His Excellency Yeth Vinel, the Under-Secretary of State for Ministry of Economy and Finance, Cambodia. He will be delivering his closing keynote entitled UN Sustainable Development Goals and Fiscal Sustainability. Please help me welcome him on stage, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to be invited today to share my view on UN Sustainable Development Goals and fiscal sustainability. In this 2023 Banking and Finance Summit, we focus on the future of finance and financing the Sustainable Development Goal. First of all, I would like to congratulate Asian Strategy and Leadership Institute on the success of this important event. Today's summit is very relevant and timely organized, which has provided an opportunity for us as policy leaders and experts to gather and share insightful views on the future of our financial sector in the realm of the global digitalization. With technology revolution in place, as we discussed, the financial institution would be able to develop innovative financial instruments which will serve as an alternative source of finance for implementing the Sustainable Development Goal, especially under the prolonged distress and uncertainty of today's global economy and geopolitics caused by the COVID pandemic and Russia-Ukraine war. The outcome of today's summit, I can assure you, will embed the fundamental grounded for further actions to advance the banking system in the future with part of the SDG financing ecosystem. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, Sustainable Development Goals are set as a global partnership toward achieving 2030 agenda. All 17 goals and 169 targets are ambitious, but at most necessary to make sure no one is left behind. And to build a more sustainable, peaceful, and prosperous planet for us all as humanity. However, to realize this global and target, I have to reiterate require a revitalized global partnership to ensure the required finance be mobilized for its implementation, critically in terms of volatility and uncertainty of the global geopolitical economy. We have witnessed the disruption caused by COVID pandemic on human society and economy globally in a way unseen in our lifetime before. Its progress toward to SDG was already falling short before the pandemic. For sure, vulnerability and inequality have now been further exacerbated. I have to emphasize that, impacted by various crises, the 2023 SDG Summit, which recently took place in New York City, marked only 15% of SDG target on track, 48% progress moderately or severely off track, while 30% are in progress. Regression. The COVID pandemic and Russia-Ukraine war are having a devastating and lasting impact on developing economy, result in reversing progress on SDG. The crisis also severely impact on fiscal position of a country which has post-budget pressure for SDG financing. Based on OECD Global Outlook on financing for sustainable development, developing countries are now facing a growing financing gap, estimated at $3.9 trillion per year, because of the diminishing external support in terms of ODA and the constrained domestic resource due to the downturn of economy. According to UN-SDSN assessment, the estimated financing gap for reaching the Cambodian SDG in 2030 is of 7.8 billion US dollar per year. Some countries are now in serious fiscal position which impose them to the long-term fiscal and sustainability. In this regard, it is time, I have to emphasize, to call for a transformative and accelerated action to secure enough resources for financing SDG, achieving the Agenda 2030 require policy shift and a major realignment investment decision, or the world will see future increase in poverty, more hunger, and progress toward SDG shall not be relied. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, prior to pandemic, Cambodia showed strong initial progress in SDG by ensuring leave no one behind. To ensure more achievement, the royal government implemented Pentagon strategy by setting out long-term vision to become upper middle income country by 2030 and high income country by 2050. Unfortunately, like many other developing countries, COVID pandemic, Russia-Ukraine war, and the global warming has represented challenge to fully achieving Cambodia SDG. Due to the adverse effect on health, mobility, production, income generation, trade, tourism, and overall price level, especially on food and durable goods. It has been posed great challenge just for implementing Cambodia SDG. First, Cambodia economy has slowed down significantly, which has made it difficult to finance and implement SDG. From a robust growth rate of around 7% in 2019, Cambodia economy contracted sharply to approximately -3% in 2020. Second, the pandemic has disrupted healthcare service leading to a shortage of critical medical supply and personnel. Third, it has resulted in a job loss and reduced earnings for many people, particularly those in the informal sector. Fourth, it has disrupted educational institutions, leading to the decline in the quality of education and a lack of access for some school children. And fifth, COVID has highlighted social inequality as some vulnerable groups, such as women and girls, has been disproportionately affected, making it difficult to achieve the goal of gender equality and reduce inequality. Allow me to share Cambodia's experience in responding to this crisis as below. In fighting against COVID, the royal government recognized vaccination as the key strategic measure, along with the introduction of the health and administrative measure, as well as social and economic intervention. With COVID vaccination as a key strategic measure, Cambodia has become one of the countries with the highest coverage rate of vaccinated population globally, particularly achieving a strong herd immunity and enabling to fully reopen in late 2021 to resume all socio-economic activity in the new normal. On the socio-economic aspect, the royal government introduced various intervention measures to maintain the stability of business and livelihood of the people, especially workers, poor families, and vulnerable people who have been severely affected by the COVID pandemic. To support this process, the strategic framework and program for economic recovery in the context of living with COVID in New Normal 2021-2023 was implemented. From 2020 to 2023, the royal government has disbursed budget around 3.4 billion US dollar to cover the increase of the public health spending and the continuation of other crisis support, including fighting against COVID, maintaining the lifeline of poor and unemployed people. keeping business activity afloat and maintaining security and social stability. On social sector, the Royal Government launched and scaled up a number of important programs such as Cash for Work program, cash transfer program for the poor and vulnerable households to help alleviate hardship and maintain the livelihood of the poor and other social protection programs. On the economic sector, the Royal Government has made unremitting effort to address chronic structural program, competitiveness, and promote economic diversification, especially to address major challenges faced by business through providing tax exemption and implementing a new law on investment, Cambodia digital economy and social policy framework, Cambodian digital government policy, law on public-private partnership, Cambodia financial technology development policy, national strategy for informal economic development, and adaptation of the various free trade. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, through the strategy implementation of a mix of social, economic, and health measures, Cambodia navigated the pandemic and set itself on a path to rapid economic recovery in V-shaped growth pattern, with growth rate projected to be around 5.6% and 6.6% in 2023 and 2024 respectively. GDP per capita reached approximately around $2,000 due to expansion of trade and market diversification. Trade balance is improved, result as also in the increase of the government international reserve to around $19 billion in 2023. The overall fiscal deficit is in a good position due to the better economic recovery momentum, which improved the revenue collection performance together with the rationalization of unnecessary spending. It is noteworthy to take lesson and experience from the COVID pandemic and Russia-Ukraine war in order to introduce a key policy measure for building a strong and inclusive economy, social economy in the future. First, vulnerable economic structure to external situation and demand needs to rapidly build up the local economic base and promote the diversification of growth in order to strengthen resiliency against crisis. Second, social safety net is an effective intervention tool to support social welfare during the crisis. It requires high attention toward preparation, capacity building, and strengthening instrument arrangement to improve social safety net and continue to develop a wider and more effective social protection system. Third, public financial instrument and monetary policy is utmost necessary for the government to implement measures effectively and timely amid the crisis. Policy tools should be further developed and be ready for intervention when needed to play a role in lessening the impact of the crisis and to boost national economic growth. Fourth, overwhelming informal economic activity cause difficulty in managing intervention during crisis. Many unregistered business, especially micro, small, and medium enterprise, will make the government provide support in a timely and comprehensive manner. Finally, government saving is a significant source of financing in handling problems during the crisis. During fiscal distress, the saving that has been achieved prior to the crisis enabled the government to launch key socio-economic intervention programs that aim to facilitate livelihood for the people and workers as well as maintain trade balance. In the case of Cambodia, saving prior to the crisis provided the government with enough fiscal buffer for intervention. Due to the prudent management of public finance, the Royal Government increased saving by 9-fold from 2% of GDP in 2021 to 17.8% of GDP in 2022. Resulting from the robust increase of the domestic revenue during the strong economic growth. With this strong fiscal position, Cambodia's public debt remains sustainable and low risk of debt distress. In 2023, Cambodia maintained its public debt of GDP at the rate of 24.2% compared to 40% at the threshold. In addition, the government also developed the domestic government bond market to secure additional financing options, including PPP mechanism, and respond to diminishing government saving and access to the concessional loan, along with the reduction of the unnecessary spending and reallocation of the budget toward the urgent and privatized spending. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the pandemic and geopolitical tension, as such the unpredictable, prolonged Russia-Ukraine war, and the recent Israel-Palestine conflict in Gaza have not only disrupted the process of achieving sustainable development, but also reflected the necessity of further enhance and strengthen international cooperation. The economic distress has put pressure on developing country fiscal position to finance their SDGs, while some countries are under severe debt burden. In this case, concerted efforts should be taken by each state government and the international community to ensure finance for SDG realization. Based on what Cambodia has performed, I wish to raise some key recommendations as below. Each state government should take policy measures to restore its fiscal sustainability through fiscal policy by implementing fiscal coordination and targeted expansionary fiscal policy. In order to reduce fiscal deficit and stabilize sustainable public debt, it's also critical to focus on international reform to enhance spending efficiency for promoting economic growth. State governments should undertake national action to accelerate economic recovery. Industrialization and structural transformation have historically propelled technological progress, economic expansion, and employment. As a response to this climate crisis, the pandemic and geostatistic concern, the current resurgence of the industrial policy provide us an opportunity to pursue sustainable industrial transformation to develop the domestic production capacity necessary to achieve low carbon transition, to generate decent employment and gender equality, and to boost economic growth and productivity. International community must scale up GSD investment in all types of development cooperation. The SDG stimulus initiative must be immediately operationalized, and multilateral development banks must increase their capital and changing their business model to enable government to scale up the development and investment. Additionally, countries experiencing debt distress must be supported expeditiously and adequately in order to reduce their debt burden and provide long-term release. International community must hand in hand with state government to achieve transformation through skill, innovation and technology transfer, market access and infrastructure investment to promote global and regional connectivity. Importantly, promote a state and peaceful social and political environment in order to ease the flow of investment. In this regard, we as international community must continue encouraging the openness, the opening of the ceremony and strengthening of the economic integration by promoting investment and trade through full implementation of free trade agreement and expanding trade preference through WTO for least developed countries, so strengthen their economic competitiveness and prepare themselves for taking advantage for the post-industrial revolution and digital economy. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, Before ending my remark, I would like to reiterate that we all acknowledge that the COVID pandemic and other emerging crises we are facing have significant impact on our economic fiscal position so as to the SDG implementation. At the same time, however, we also see the opportunity for further reform to promote socio-economic resilience through the new fiscal and debt sustainability framework with the Universal Social Protection Scheme and climate resilience with the greater investment in sustainable development. Making progress toward the SDG 2030 goal will require comprehensive solutions to support stronger co-investment platform to enable business environment to low-income and middle-income countries to advance financial deepening and to increase the efficiency of the public spending. To this end, we, as the international community, must intensify effort, strengthen cooperation, and rebuild trust and confidence to involve, address the root cause of the conflict, and reinvigorate solidarity for SDG achievement. By working together forward, our common goal with reinforced mutual trust and global solidarity, I strongly believe that we can build a better world for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please remain on stage at this juncture. I'd like to call upon Professor Dato Elizabeth Lee to present a token of appreciation to His Excellency. His Excellency Yeth Vinel, Under Secretary of State, Ministry of Economy and Finance, Cambodia. A warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.